This might not be too long. We haven't spoken about unordinary at all in a long time, and it's pretty late, and I do have work tomorrow. But listen, I uh, unordinary lost. I lost interest for such a long time, and I can't necessarily say my interest has been re-peaked. But a lot of things have happened that are pretty good, I would say. The last time that we spoke about Unordinary in general, I was hyping up Zeke. Zeke, Zeke.
A little something like eeny, meeny, rap from the beginning. Smoke a little pack, but the pack never timid. Church, but I'm seeing it. Curse when I'm winning. She need a new back. When it's back, I'ma bend it. Slap up some guinea. Pass me the henny. Watch a nigga black super yak, I'ma quit it. Swerve in the Benzie. Perfume is Fendi. Bob and move fast, real fast like I'm Ricky. Just 'cause I'm pretty. Came from the dirt. Shuffle up a nigga can't handle the work. Ooh, y'all, swing with it first. Young white girl like a ramble.
Zeke got his shit waxed and said, "Hey, if you can't beat him, join him." He said, "Yo, Team John, let's go. I'll be your right hand man. Who I need to take out? Give me the hit list. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Safe club? Ain't no safe club in this school, bitch." Like I never seen something like that in my life. I loved it. I loved it. What's up, face? I loved it. That shit was dope. So yeah. Well, yeah. How have you felt about the recent chapters? More interesting, less interesting. I'll say this: Arlo has been the one thing. Well, obviously, I'm an Arlo fan. If you don't know this, you see him right there on the left. Yellow hair, don't care. Blue eyes, yes sir. Yeah, seeing his growth has just been my favorite thing as a character. He's getting better and better. I love it. I love it. I love how nonchalant he is with John at this point. John's like, "Hey, where the fuck you going? I ain't not talking to you." Like, bro, you could whoop me. We know this. Can I leave? Like, who cares? Like, he's just like, bro, I love it. I love it. Well, how you feel though? I know you a John stan, so.
Oh, because listen, this story, it's long, but so is redemption. Redemption is a long road, and that is the main point of this story. Now, I'm not gonna excuse the pacing issues. I feel like it's gathered back to the form though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm borrowing this take from somebody I talked to. And basically, this story is about presenting you three different arguments. So you got man versus man. First, there was Arlo versus John. That's how it all started at Weston. They couldn't let it go. Then it was man versus society. Then that was the whole Joker arc. Now is man versus self, and that's this redemption arc. So for me, I read this because I like the realistic portrayal of society. I like that. Now, obviously, yeah, you can't get along with everything that John did. My problem was never that. I understood that. My problem was everybody else was excusing the shit that everybody else does. Everybody else was doing. They played their role in this. But now that she beat that fucking point over and over and over and over.
Oh, brother, did she beat it?
Yeah, she beat it there. I was like, yeah, I got it. I will not excuse that. We got it. She did not have to make the character. John beat the other characters like 800 times. You really only needed to do that twice. And for whatever reason, she thought we needed to do it like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that happened to her, I've been saying from the very beginning, when nobody listened to me, the man obviously got mental health issues. It was obvious to me. And I'm basically the fucking East of unordinary. I know all this shit. And he had fucking mental health issues. It was obvious to me. Whatever happened to him at that fucking detention center with Keon's power, we still not even 100% how it worked. But it fucked him. Really bad. He can't even tell like reality from what he did. He just so stuck. Now, that's not absorbing him from the fucking accountability that he still needs to take up, because this shit is still his fault. He played his part in it, just like everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
And after we saw the backstory and all the shit that happened with Claire, we realized that, yeah, she didn't do it for power. She did to help her friend, but he was just too lost in his bullshit. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, how he plans to fucking make everything right, because there is no clear way to do that. There's no easy way to do that, just like in real life. When you fuck up, there's not always everybody's going to forgive you, and it's not going to happen in 2 seconds.
Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Thank you for whatever. What was that? I don't know what that was. It scared the fuck out of me. Zodiac said
But
something. Thank you,
it's a
sir.
long
I
road.
appreciate-
It's the
Oh,
long
he
road.
gifted.
Baby.
Oh, gifted. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Now all right. So here's y'all already know I'm not. I don't. John is the bozo. You see the fucking title. I don't. I think one thing people misunderstand is they think that I don't think he has a point. That's not my. That's never been my issue. He has a point. It's just, dude, you're not the only person who's going through this. It's the fact that he's so blinded by everything that's going on that he can only see his hurt. And I'm like, dog, I'm not gonna hold
That's
you.
real. That's real people.
Yeah.
Real people,
No.
man.
At the end of the day, I think we're the same on this point where we're like, from an actual standpoint of like a character really struggling with the duality of their personality, basically being broken because of Keon, this and that, and the third, we understand that it taking this long makes sense. What we're like is we still gotta read this shit a week to week. Right? that was the problem.
That was a problem. That was definitely a problem. That's unarguable.
Yeah.
Even the biggest unordinary stand, you can't argue that.
Yeah.
That was hard to read for months.
Yeah. So it is what it is. And he's a kid, never mind, and they think they're okay. That's fair. I'm not denying all of that. My point is, I'm a reader. I still have to experience this thing from week to week. Blah blah yada yada. Now I always say this with webtoons like this specifically. I always feel like they become aimless for a time. I can't think of many webtoons like this where at some point I was like, bro, what are we doing? I can go as far. I could do this with Noblesse. Actually, Noblesse I can do this with. I can do this with Girls with the Wilds. I can do this with Lookism. I can do this with unOrdinary, whatever. Like, there's always this point where I'm like, bro, what are we? Even Windbreaker. Like, what are we doing? Where's the purpose? Yeah. We're shit's just happening for no reason. I'm reading a chapter and then I'm like, ugh. Nothing got accomplished, and I felt like unOrdinary was doing that. Because here's one thing about me, right? Like you said, John, everyone's so mean to him. Oh yeah, blah blah yada yada. The nail is in place. It's there. The table has been built. The nails are in, and she's still hammering. We're actually damaging the table now. Like, can we move on?
Like, I can't. Like I said, I'm not gonna argue because I'd be a hypocrite if I argue. Mm-hmm. Because some people. This is an argument that every manga and every manga fan tries to use to fucking defend something where we're talking about the execution of a story. And we're just, you try to explain to people the end goal, the end thing of what we're getting to. We all understand that. Nobody is saying that's the incorrect path to take because it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes how we got there is the problem. Because everybody's just like, oh, the whole journey and all that stuff. But my thing is, if I wasn't enjoying that part of the journey, it don't matter if I get there, if you wore me out by the time I get there. If we climbing up a mountain, and by the time I get there, nigga, I lost an arm and a leg or some shit wasn't worth it, dude. Like, I'm not going to get to the mountain and be like, man, what a journey. Like, no, fuck that, dude. Why did I do this? Why did I put myself through this? Because it's just going to take the shit out of you. So, like I said, I understand where y'all coming from. Mm-hmm. She could have cut out probably like, I don't know, a month or two worth of chapters. Yeah. And it would have had the same effect because we already had the thing about unOrdinary. It already does a really good job setting up all this stuff from the very beginning. It's not like she just needed time to set this up and doing it now. She's been doing it the entire story. Mm-hmm. So it's just like we didn't need to go this far. So it would have been fine if she could have cut the bullshit a lot sooner. The moment that Serafina found out that he was fucking Joker, she could have cut a lot of that shit after that moment in half. Cause we were good once that happened. Once she found out, we could have just went straight into fucking we need to get her power back a lot quicker. Like they took so long beating around the bush getting to the point of getting her powers, and that was the issue.
And I'm not gonna hold you. The chat is yelling at me. I have wings. I'll eat them after I stream. What I was gonna say is that I didn't like this confrontation with him and Serafina. I didn't like it. I thought it was whack. I thought I waited so long for this. I'm like, nah, bro.
I knew when it was coming though. I said they're not gonna actually fight. Mm-hmm. I knew that would. I always knew. I said no, because they're not built like that. They're not their particular relationship. I mean, she could have led it that direction, but
it just wasn't that thing. I would have said this: if she would have did like a little clash, but had like no winner, that probably would have been the best way to go. And I think part of the reason she did that because she didn't want to be like, oh, one is stronger than the other. Because if you do that,
I was this
kind
close
of
to forsaking my guy, but to start with it by the end. Oh man, listen, I don't know. I just can't get behind John in anything he does. Like even right now, like all right, he's all like, okay, here's my problem. I really not my problem. I really thought she was doing something so interesting with the duality of John. You know, brown paper bag Tuesday, Joker versus John Doe. You know what I'm saying?
every webtoon though, yeah.
But
Honestly, all these like slice of life webtoons all take forever to get to.
yeah. This is not even an uncommon thing. But even ones that have a focused central plot, if there's slice of life elements, sometimes that will get in the way of advancing stuff. Because Noblesse did this for a while, where like they were just running around doing shit. Niggas was eating noodles and like, bro, the Union, the Elders, like what the fuck? Are we like like what? So it just happens sometimes. But I felt like the confrontation that Sarah had with John was as generic as it comes. Like you can't see, but oh, the darkness is blinding you. Oh, your friends, I'm here. I won't give up. Like I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Naruto versus Sasuke? I don't want. Take this the fuck out of my face. This was so whack. I waited this long. And when Sarah pulled up with her powers, I got hype. I said, oh shit, here we go. Then I was like, no, that wasn't it. that was, I didn't like that. But here's the thing that I'll say about everything that was going on. I spoke about Arlo's realization of the authorities. That was dope. I like everything Blake was doing with the upper, with the like little drug, the enhancer, him going to the principal. All of that stuff was pretty good. I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting something. It'll come to. Oh, Layla. There we go. Layla. So finding out more about Ember and stuff being tied to the authorities, that was cool and stuff. But I still don't think any of that like organization stuff outside of Wellston has really picked up or come full circle or gone.
See, I wish you would have ended. I wish you would have ended one thing before she started another. It's like she put it in the middle of this whole redemption arc, and I would have rather her just like. Kind of put that in the background, close out this shit, and then let's jump straight into that. Because now she might have another 100 chapters of this story before we finally get everything together. Because they like to run long, so we'll probably be at chapter 300, 340, 350 before the story ends. I'm guessing.
Yeah. But yeah, Paper Bag John, Joker John over King John, that was wild. Good friend, but man, I think this could be the mental suit thing. Yeah, I mean, one thing that Vince went above and beyond and said that obviously there's something wrong with him mentally. I never went that far because I just didn't expect uru-chan to really tackle it like that. But I always said that Keon, what he did more harm than good. Forcing me to relive my mistakes as a way to like condition me to not do it, that's not the wave. Because remember how I always said, why the fuck did this stupid ass nigga decide to become say I'm a cripple and have no powers? Because Keon's influence forced him to believe that if he used his power, he absolutely cannot rein it in the slightest. Not at all. And I've been consistent at that point. I just said that there comes a point where you're lashing out to just you at this point. Doesn't matter. I don't care who pushed you here. It doesn't matter how you got here. You refuse to move from this position, from this part of the cliff. So that's been I've been pretty consistent on John in that right. So yeah.
See, and like I said, I don't think that 100% wrong. Because like I said, I definitely saw that webbook. Because I'm definitely somebody who will tell you that. At some point, people got to take responsibilities for the action. Yes, your environment did this to you. Yes, this happened to you. Yes, this happened to you. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who can change that.
Yeah.
So that's still the point, and that point still has to be made. But at the same time, what Keon did to him was basically, and we're kind of seeing the results of it now. If you're caught up to the thing without the fast pass, because his dad basically told him like, yeah, Claire came to me and tried to do this, and that. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Keon made him relive through his perspective of the fucking events That happened so much that he don't even know what the truth is. This nigga been doing this, been basically living a lie. He been fighting a lie the entire time.
Yeah.
He thought his best friend betrayed him, and he probably was gonna think that anyway. But this could have been solved years ago if they just fucking had some proper counseling. But that's not what they did. Instead of trying to properly reform, like it's like the prison system, and that's what she's comparing this to. Is if you properly try to reform people instead of doing it this way, putting them in this cage and then sending them back to real life, where they no longer can function under real life rules, they're bound to fuck up again. So she's making that point, but she's still making the point that you still have to fix the shit yourself.
Yes.
So both points are being made. You can't lean too far one or the other.
One thing that we like me, you, Simi, even when Satsuki and Darius and stuff used to talk with us about this, one thing we've been pretty consistent on is that everybody has something they need to take accountability for, even if that's being naive or oblivious, like Remy, right? We can see that she's obviously a nice girl. She wants to help, but her being unable to see the privilege that she had for so long, that was an issue. It doesn't matter if you were trying to help. You didn't know how. So you know what I'm saying? So when Golden says John, he does, but Keon has to take responsibility too. Yes, everybody is responsible to some degree. There's blame pie for everybody. It was just some of them John arguments. I'm like, bro, why y'all acting like no one else went through this? Like he's not the only one. To the point where Keon said, all you late bloomers are like this. I caught that. It means he's not unaccustomed to dealing with people who bloom late and get their powers. But here's what I want to ask you, Vince. Because I'm kind of worried this is the direction we're going in. And I personally think this will cheapen the whole John experience. Do you think Uru-chan is going to try to put the blame on Keon? By saying what he did really damaged his recovery, which led him to this point. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
The reason I don't think so, because he wouldn't be going to the store and wouldn't be talking to Adrian, probably confronting Claire at some point. I think she's making it clear that he has to take accountability for it. Because why the fuck go home then? Unless Keon's there, which I don't know. Neither one of us know that. If Keon, is he located in his hometown? But no, I don't think she's doing that, because why go home? Why have the conversations with your dad? Why go see the boy at the store and do all that? Because he has to learn the truth for himself and realize that he was the fucking problem. Because when he came home, he had the whole nightmare and stuff like that. And, he's living his truth. He's living his perspective. But that perspective is not right.
Okay.
Now, I think she's taking the super long route, which, like I said, I'm not a big fan of any of these webtoons.
Like he's going back to New Boston from his roots, Yeah.
She's starting from ground zero. She's because basically she's going for, I think, you can't be forgiven or redeemed in one singular moment. It's not gonna make all this right.
Because he even still lashed out on Adrian. So
yeah. He's not going to change in a day. He didn't change the last time. He's not going to change in a day. It's going to take some time. But, yeah, I don't think she's going the other route.
The reason why they literally unintentionally radicalized him, or more for Runa, because his ability formed it. I think it's a kid thing. I can accept that. John never met anyone else like him. Like Gaara. Oh, God. Not Gaara. Naruto and the both being thing.
I mean, that's the only.
I'm fast pass too. I'm not allowed to talk about fast pass. I know that's a thing. We can't really do. So. Because I felt like, I think Golden said this a bit earlier. I don't remember when he said it, but I felt like when his dad said something on the lines yo, who told you that? Where'd you get that from? Why? When did you become so self-deprecating? And then there was that image of Keon with his hand over his head on some Galactus gonna crush the earth type beat. And I'm like, please don't tell me she's gonna do this. Don't do that. Don't put all the blame or most of the blame on Keon. Let John take accountability for the things he did on his own. Because to me, I feel the opposite of you guys. I feel like she Uru-chan is about to make this. You see, and even Sarah was able to actually discern that Keon was the officer that whatever was, because why did John act weird or scared when he was around? I feel like she knows. and she might confront him in some like I feel like I don't know. Personally, I feel like Keanu's gonna
No,
be
I think that point is gonna be tied to the whole fucking societal point
okay.
more than anything.
Okay, fair enough.
That this whole society is broken. They already addressed the school. Now they're addressing it. The figureheads, the police force, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's going in a very long direction to touch on every single little thing in society. It's just taking a really long time to do that. Because she basically touched on the school, she touched on the students in the school, she touched on late bloomers, then she touched on the citizen people, and she's just going this very long route. And then even like Sarah's sister, the part she played and helping developing this bullshit to take away power because she fucking got her shit abused. I mean, apparently she was developing it for a different reason,
Yeah.
and it ain't get used for that reason. It got abused. So.
And Layla wants Dr. Darren for something because remember when they gave him the thing to analyze, apparently that's what he did in school before he became a nurse. So and they kind of brought the point up like, what made you want to become a nurse?
You knew that man was made for great things. You called it.
That's me. He's literally me.
Yeah.
So that's me. Like you take Arlo, you fuse him with Dr. Darren, you just got me and unordinary. She's got me. Especially like Dr. Darren's my spirit animal. It's like, bro, leave me the fuck alone. I'm just trying to do the minimum amount of work and go home and get the fuck out of here. All these mosh up broken kids coming into my broken arm, bro. What do I look like? So I feel it. That's my goal, man. Okay, shit. What was I gonna ask you about Layla? Do you think that he's gonna leave the school and go work with Layla at Ember or whatever? Because it looks like they're trying to recruit him.
Dr. Darren?
Yeah, because it seemed like he's not trying. He does not fuck with how the principal runs the school, and I felt like they've been hammering the point in a little bit that clearly he has a skill set that's not related to medicine. Like he's a scientist somewhat because they asked him to analyze. That's a good question. Yeah, remember they asked him to analyze the booster, like the enhancement drug. And then he's like, I'm a doctor. I'm a nurse. Why are you giving this to me? Like, you did this shit in high school or university or whatever the fuck it was. And then later on, when the students came in, they asked him why he became a nurse or whatever. He's like, yo, shut the fuck up. And then he got that text from Layla, my boss will call you soon. I think he's about to be the fuck out of there.
Maybe. Yeah. You know what? I didn't even think about that too much. But, yeah. He definitely will have his role to play, and I could never see him leave school. But also, I mean, his school ain't never been what it seemed anyway. The whole principal's role and whoever that nigga who be in there with him with the blonde hair, I think, right? Glasses, shit like that.
I feel you, Golden.
The school ain't never been. The school ain't never been what it felt like because the principal was just letting all this happen. Like, what in the school you just know? The principal just letting this shit happen.
He seems to be trying to like let the students figure out what needs to be done, sort of, because he seemed very impressed with Blake's assertiveness to like get the safe house popping. Like I hear you. He's not a good principal, but I think he just has a bigger like grand design, big picture point to make, and he thought John might be able to like because of the situation he's been in, as being basically a cripple to a low tier. To a mid tier, to a high tier, so he's been like all forms. He's been in all positions of society, if you will. I thought that maybe he'd be the one because remember the principal was disappointed in him for the way he's been acting. Like, you're a disappointment.
He seems to be in a position where he's like, I can't he can't preach that. He can't tell them that. That basically would be treason against the society. He'd be like talking about the gospel of unOrdinary. So he can't say that. So I think he was hoping, like you said, with John's entry into the school and him being in that position and secretly being the strongest, that he could enact that change. Which I thought, even if you want to do that, though, I still think he could have went about it a better way because he was completely hands off. And you can't be 100% hands on either.
Thank you for
but
the
he was
sub,
just way too hands off.
5 months. I gotta change some of these badges for like the later months. By the way, sorry. Yeah, keep going.
Oh yeah, it's all good. He's just way too hands off for me.
Yeah, I get you. He's too hands off. Like, there's a middle ground. Like, protect the students, nigga. Damn. So that's the least you
or
can
at least
do.
Talk to John. Like try to talk to John, even if it's in like a riddle week, because they be having old wives
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Roundabout riddle way.
I was gonna say you have to be that the fake wise old man when it's like you gotta nudge them in the right direction with that pseudo wisdom. Like, well, John, you see, what you need to do is what has never been done. Therefore, you're the one who can do it because you're in a position no one's ever been in. And it's like, think about what position what makes you special. And now you gotta figure that shit out when he's walking around school. Like some shit like that. So I hear you. I feel it.
Yeah, that would have really I don't think that works all the time, but that would have really worked here. I think in this story, it would have been nice to see an adult care. Cause that's one thing about this story that like, cause I think like this and MHA are very similar in a bunch of ways as far as like the political messages they're trying to send with society and effect on superheroes.
And it's probably a world where like, well, I can't say for sure, but at the very least, not having a power is probably more rare than having one, even if it's a weak one. So.
Yeah, so it'd have been nice to see, but it would have been nice to see adults who want change also. So it's just like because we're more hands on.
It seems to me like most of these adults that we've seen are either, they've accepted the world as what it is because they're either like the principal or something in a position of power or good status and they're good, or they're oppressed and they're just like, this is the way it is. There's just nothing we can do about it. We just live in this impoverished neighborhood. Authorities don't come here. This nigga tweaking off drugs and now he more powerful. We can't stop him. So, yeah. So what do you think's going to happen with Blake? Do you think that, because the principal said he's going to defend him because eventually the authorities are going to recognize who he is and his power of propulsion. Do you think something's going to happen to him? Do you think he's going to get got?
Well, I think all of them are going to get got at some point anyway. Because fucking, they're going to... Cause we still don't know what what's his name got the list for. What's it? Terrence. Terrence will still have the list. We'll try to recruit people and stuff like that. So at some point, I guess there's gonna. I don't want to say like a war because that's too big a word. But there's gonna be some infiltration into the school and targeted students, like especially the high.
Yeah.
Speaking of wars, though, I kind of wish that turf war shit would have been a little bit better. Now, looking back at it. That's one thing I could have said for season 1. I wish that turf war shit had way more
at least
like
some school games, like how Simi says it, games. I can't know how he does it.
It would have been really cool to have more fighting in the series in that way too, instead of these one-sided beatdown.
Yeah,
because that would have been a good way to help like explore the power in the power system and get people stronger and stuff like that. She could have explored but she decided to go more of the political route instead of the battle shonen type route.
Yeah,
which is cool. I don't have a problem with that.
Then,
I probably would have liked a little more balance.
But then she went full battle shonen for Sarah versus John. So I'm sorry. That shit. I honestly couldn't believe how like run of the mill that I was so like.
I get it.
Because I like their first talk. Remember the first talk they have in the room. And after, like that to me, that was impactful. I love how that happened. Now when she came out,
they should have threw fist. Yeah,
I said okay, let's do this. And then
like I said, you didn't need a winner. You just needed to punch each other long enough so he could see.
Yeah,
and realize what he was doing. Because if he's that lost in the rage and in the darkness, she got to be the one that kind of like punch him out of it. They punch, and maybe she starts losing. And when he sees what he's doing to his former best friend, he got to snap out of it. Yeah. When he realized he's trying to actually kill her or some shit.
Yeah. If John had a rival,
John did. I don't agree with that golden ace. He didn't need no rival because I don't think that wouldn't have served the purpose of what they were trying to do. Because if you would have had a rival, he would have just been the exact same as all the other high tiers. He wouldn't have been no different.
Yeah.
It kind of would have defeated the purpose of what she tried to do.
And
if he's gonna have a rival,
and if that guy is just as stubborn as John is, and they're supposed to be somewhat equal, they would just go back and forth. I would imagine, right?
Yeah, so. It'd have been some Aikanu fucking what's this? Koji shit.
Oh, rival school. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
okay.
Rival school.
Like a collective of niggas. Well, you want to get into our Crow's bag. We want Hosen versus Suzu.
Yeah, that would have changed the whole story.
That would have banged. Are you crazy? That would have been dummy. Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Nah, I still probably would have wanted to keep John out of it because he still might have fucking just demolished him.
I need Uru to stop doing these fights. I'm not fucking with it. She has moments and sequences that are good. I didn't
He's just
necessarily.
short.
I didn't
and
necessarily.
one-sided.
I didn't necessarily dislike the like artistry of the fight. I just couldn't believe how one like I could probably think of 8, best friend. One went too far interaction. I have to bring it back to the light that went beat for beat like that. That's my problem. Even to the point where he's like, I'm a monster. I don't deserve forgiveness. I said, give me a break, nigga. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
I think her fucking I think her action scenes are decent.
Mhm.
They're not,
Mhm.
especially for webtoons. They're not obviously to the level of some other mediums and manga and other shit. But for webtoons, especially, I thought they were pretty good. My thing is though, is we're in a superpowered society, and I feel like she was unlike a Oda or something. She didn't have quite the creativity fucking these little powers enough. Like they do a lot of fist fights in the unordinary. Like honestly, if we're being serious, like John wins 90% because he just can fight.
Yeah,
That's like 90% the reason why he wins.
Yeah, no, like he's pretty well trained too because of William, because he can fight.
Yeah.
So then he also spent so much time at the bottom. So he, So yeah, he's hard to beat, man. But me and you we always say this, we're accustomed to seeing like main characters in webtoons being broken in some facet. It's usually like this. We even go so far to be like, there's niggas from like Sweet Guy, Love Parameter, and shit like that, where it's like this is a smut one, they're still busted. This nigga can see stats. This nigga, if you touch him, you just want to fuck him. Then there was the dude from shit. What was it? He was called like an Inuk. Like he couldn't get hard. And then
the eunuch from Brawl and Go.
Brawl and Go, like him, and he got the Baka hammer, right? So yeah. I don't know what it is about these webtoons, but they love their MCs to just be OD strong. It's crazy. Always.
Yeah, like honestly, if she could have just, they also love to over dramatize. Like I know this particular medium and manga tend to do that. They just kind of overdo it a little bit with the terms of just like I'm a monster, stuff like that. Like at that point, if she really wanted to like snap John out of it and shit like that, because my thing was he's still been fighting the demon inside himself the entire time. But first of all, I think that should have started a little bit earlier, because I felt like it kind of came like late. He's still struggling with the internal strife, but we don't have that until literally the second half. We still should have saw that, and honestly, I would have preferred if like we would have saw it more at like the beginning, and then in this whole second half of the story so far, he would have got rid of that part of himself. He'd be like, what, fuck it, I don't need it anymore. Like I don't need no empathy, no sympathy, none of that. And he just decided to rule the school with an iron fist with cronies and shit like that. I would have preferred a route going down like that person, like him, Zeke, making some underlings under them, and then Serafina got to use everybody else to like block out them dudes so she can get the John herself one-on-one, and then they fight, and then she snap them back into it. That's the way I would have wrote it, but I'm not a writer, so.
I don't know. I don't want to be the guy who's like, I expected. I don't know. I don't even know what I expected though. That's the thing. I just didn't think it would be like that. But Sykes, hold on. Sykes, if you're talking about when Blake was fighting like the Destructo disc guy, yeah, I didn't really care for that. When then the sword dude came at the end, yeah, I didn't care for that. That didn't really do much for me. I never really cared about all of that vigilante stuff. But Blake is like a character that I acknowledge his importance. I just don't have much for. I don't really care for him like that. I thought he probably would have been interested if he took the drugs in crackhead mode, and he needed it. Then it would have been more interesting. I like Eason. Him I like. I don't really, like my favorite characters. For anyone who doesn't know, it's Darren, it's Arlo, it's Cecile, Zeke, and then it's I don't know, throw someone, Sarah maybe, probably Serafina. Those are probably my favorite 5 characters. Zeke, this for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sorry, the shit was too funny what he did. He was a dickhead, the ultimate dickhead. He was the school bully, John said, "All right, I'm actually the Joker. It's me." Beat his ass, and he came back and said, "Hey, yo, John, I'm finna be your right hand man. What's up? What do we do? Yo, who I gotta take out? Give me the list. Safe club in your school, John? Can't happen in your Wellston. Like, I mean, bro, he's sucking dick. Yo, this guy sucked up to him so fast, and I'm like, I respect it. I'm sorry. He top 5. He'll never not be top 5 for that and that alone. I'm sorry. Shout out to Zeke, yo. Shout out to Zeke.
I feel like this webtoon. I had it at the end of the first season. I had it at a 9 at this point. It's probably at an 8. Depending how the ending goes, I'll probably go back to like 8.5.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's why I want you to read like Random Chatting, because I feel like Random Chatting does a lot of this shit better, but without the superpowers. Because if you're gonna do the superpowers, I need to take it up another notch. So it's like, if we're just gonna do slice of life shit, you could have just did this with just martial arts or some shit, damn near.
Yeah.
Without
that's why without shield, John isn't being time control. That's interesting, because based on the interaction I saw, I agree. It doesn't look like John was able to copy your power, at least not yet. So I think
Golden
if he could...
Ace Random Chat is my favorite webtoon now. Basically. It says fucking Tower of God has failed me.
Y'all like I don't know. Y'all like the old editor-in-chief? Listen, all I know is Cecile. She's the GOAT. She's just trying to make her newspaper. That's all I ever needed. So, yeah. Wasn't he fun as a bully? Yeah, I think he had Zeke's, Cecile's, Remy's, and Arlo's. I don't know if he can like swap one out. I don't know how it works exactly. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've like read up on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 4 was his limit, at least for now, because who knows if he can go to 10. So he's at 7.5. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I'll get to Random Chatting when I get to it, but it's not. It's not. I'm not getting to anything webtoon related until I'm done with Kubera. I'll be done soon though, because shit's fire. So yeah.
Fire. More fire.
Shit had me in the mud, bro. I want to ask you this about unOrdinary. 2 questions. First one is, what do you think unOrdinary's strongest suit is? Like, what's his strongest trait as a webtoon? In your opinion, what do you think is the themes
itself are the strongest. The way that she presents these themes are probably the best. And also, I just kind of like a lot of the realism portrayal of how more of these things will go, because everybody made points. Because sometimes you see manga or you read things where it's just like only the main character makes points, or only the side characters tell you like, oh, you need to stop being like this. It's just like, yeah, but at some point it's just like, everybody got a side and everybody makes points. That's like real human stuff. Like, I can tell you, hey, nah, stop being a dickhead. You're acting like a dickhead, this, that, and that. But you could also be like, oh, you're prying too much into my life and this, that, and the other. And we both can be right. And that's kind of how I like about unOrdinary, that I feel like multiple people are right and multiple people are wrong. I think that's some of the strongest aspects.
Yeah. Do I like Kubera over unOrdinary? Oh yeah, Kubera is way better than unOrdinary. I didn't have to think about that.
Kubera is better than most webtoons. The
only line webtoon I don't have Kubera over. I mean, I don't have Kubera over is Tower of God right now. That's it. I have Kubera right second right now. I'm not done.
If Kubera had fights, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
It's not even that I necessarily don't feel like I could put it over TOG. You just know how I'm not a prisoner of the moment type of guy. You know, I need that consistency. Right. If I like Kubera this much for like a year and a half, there'll come a point where I'm like, yeah. Especially if Tower God comes back and it's not hitting, and I feel like Kubera's doing better for a elongated amount of time, I'm gonna gravitate to Kubera more. So that's just how I am. Let's say One Piece has been my favorite for years, right? Let's say I'm not feeling One Piece, and I start reading JJK, and I like JJK more than One Piece for the time being. But that could last, a month, and maybe something happens in One Piece and I'm back. But let's say I felt like JJK was better for like an elongated period of time, that's what it would take for me to really be like, yeah. Not only do I like it more right now, I've liked it more for a longer period of time, and that's kind of how I am. Some people can just reach something like,
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah.
go greatest, yada yada. It takes me a long time to get there. I gotta reread it in like a year. Do I still feel the same way about it? You know what I'm saying? Like the things that I've loved and been in like my top 10 and top 5 have been things that I can constantly revisit throughout different phases of my life and get something out of it. For example, One Piece, I started, I was about 11 and a half, 12-ish. I was a child, a preteen, if you will. It followed me to my teens, late teens, young adult to adult life. And as I revisit and reread it, there's different things I get out of it every time I go back. Same thing with Tower of God. With my first read, my opinion was different. The second read to my sixth read, things I saw differently, things that I didn't pick up on, this, that, and the third. I'm just not. I don't know. Like even with the NBA, like, oh, this player is this. Like, bro, and I will judge you in year 4. You have 4 years. I'm not turning you into anything until year 4. But I'm patient. That's how I am. So
I agree. I agree with you with the elongated point time. Because to me, like I said, like me and I are on the same page. If Tower God comes back and he's gas, I will forgive all the transgressions that happened in the beginning of season 3. Like it'll still have problems, it'll still take a while, but I'll feel a lot better because season 1 and most of season 2 was pure gas. So he's only had about 1.5 bad arcs of material for me, or just mediocre. So if we're back and he goes back to gas or just shit I care about, I'm back in.
yeah. I mean, I like what's happening right now, the defensive wall and stuff.
It's way better. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he'll ever be.
Dude, my favorite character is back. Right? Like I was good. I was having a good time. I had no problem with what was going on with TOG at the time being. Hopefully, SC gets better. If he needs to take a break, I'd rather him release every other week than burning out, taking a year off. Yeah, probably he should probably think about taking some like older type breaks or whatever if he needs to. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, listen, them dog niggas was not it, yo. That's just crazy. All right, good night. Borrow. Yeah, I don't know, man. But we'll see what happens when he comes back. But shit, unOrdinary. Yeah, it's cool. The thing about unOrdinary to me, I agree with Vince. I think the best part about it, to me, not necessarily the theme itself, but I think that it has a good lesson to teach if you look for it there. Like, one thing I find that we don't speak about nearly enough when we are reading stories is like, stories usually have like a lesson it wants to teach you. You know what I'm saying? People will, will like berate like South Park because it's bigoted and this and that and the third, and I get that. I'm not even telling you not to feel that way if you're like, maybe you're Jewish and you're like, okay, Cartman makes too many Jewish, right? I can't get behind this. I get it, but Cartman's a fucking bad person. You don't want to be like him. That's the point. He's a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason for why it's like that. So I feel like that gets lost a lot, and like seeing how John is, how society is very might makes right and stuff, is to teach us about empathy and things of that nature. So I always felt that unOrdinary had a very good lesson, big picture takeaway.
Yep, that's my. And also, I think if I was younger, some of those themes would have hit even harder. I'm a little bit older, and I've kind of gotten through some of those, so like I can still resonate with them. That's probably why I still like the story a little bit better than most people. But it's just like, to me, it's one of these stories that if you don't resonate with the themes, you're not gonna like the story. It is at the end of the day. Like I said, like redemption, forgiveness, the stuff about society. If you don't care about any of that shit when you're reading webtoons, then you're not gonna care about this. Because not a love story, as far as we know. It is not like it's just a societal thing. It's just like environmental versus blah blah blah. Like I said, I was saying earlier, man versus self, man versus man versus society. Those are the type of themes it's touched on. If you don't care about shit like that, if you don't care about shit like that, you're not gonna care about this story.
Yeah.
So,
Do I think Kubera is better than TOG?
He answered. I guess he wasn't here for that.
Yeah, I still have Tower God 1, Kubera 2. But Kurigam's a much better writer than SIU is on his best day.
Yeah,
That's
he's that good.
I actually have a like I don't want to. I'm not gonna spoil it now. Because when I catch up to season 3, depending on what happens, I'm gonna do a little bit of I'm gonna do a contrasting comparison, not a this is better than this. I'm gonna talk about where I think they overlap, but I read Kubera and Tower of God for different reasons though, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
I don't go to them for the same reasons, so I don't get the same thing out of it. So for me, it's not more. I don't want to really compare them like that. I'll contrast and compare them and where they overlap. But if we're talking about from just a writing standpoint, that's not even debatable to me. I think on his best day, SIU is getting outwritten by Kurigam when she's having an off night. That's how I feel about it. So
Yeah, he was way better at writing shit in season 1, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually like.
I don't think he held up his end of the bargain in a lot of the things he initially set up, where I felt like she did. Like when the Tio Rakan thing really shocked me because I didn't realize that when I saw the article or paper of Lisa's friend that he was a triple chaos. So if she was out the paint, Lise would have known her brethren was alive. That's why she used the time spell on thing and Frozen Tear. I said, yo, that's actually crazy. What the fuck? So she go for that. But like with you, I need more fights in that series. But yeah, anywho, how do you feel about Hardcore Leveling Warrior? I love Hardcore Leveling Warrior. The thing about Hardcore Leveling Warrior that I always say is I don't think it does anything crazy. I just have a really good time reading it. But as far as narratives where the character go into like a video game-esque world, so your log horizon,
It's like a
your
top-tier
dot,
isekai.
yeah, your dot hack signs, your Axel world, your what the fuck is the obvious one I'm forgetting? Sword Art Online.
Sword Art.
This
Sword
one
Art,
to me
yeah.
has been the best version of that kind of story, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, that's what I think it does. That's what I think it does crazy. I also think it does a way better job than any of them balancing the difference between his real world persona and him in the video game.
Because, like, we spoke about this a little bit, but I always felt that in a lot of these games, the punishment for Digimon's a good one. A punishment for like dying in the game is either too lenient or too much. I always say you have to be careful with stakes because if you're not careful with them, you can actually completely undercut the tension if the reader, watcher, player doesn't believe that we're ever going to get to that point. I always say I'm a big fan of Shokugeki no Soma, but I can't. But it lost its appeal to me very quickly because anytime he needs to have a Shokugeki with somebody, if you lose, you're expelled. You can't cook ever again. Your friends are expelled. Like, that's so much. Like, he's not going to lose. And even if he does, you will not uphold that end of the bargain, right? So, like, I don't like when they lean in that far. And I feel like Hardcore Leveling Warrior has the perfect punishment for death. I think it's perfectly in the middle of not too far one way, not too far the other way. So, that's just me, though. Because I even think Compulsive Gambler has that problem. Is it Kageguri, whatever it's called? Like, well, if you lose this fucking game of poker, you're my slave. You're in 1 billion yen debt. I own your family. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's so.
No, they're always that's funny because it's basically like you. That's basically like Yusoki. But Yusoki is they can get away with that because they actually been playing all the games on a grand scale. It's like you niggas in high school. What are y'all talking about? Shut up.
Yeah, so I feel like the powers in the Hardcore Leveling Warrior is pretty great. Actually, Ethan is a really good lead. I'll say that. I think he's a great lead, and I love how he uses his class within the game to his advantage. Like lucky, in the hashtag Lucky Coin Syndicate. Y'all already know. You heard me talk about it on the channel. Lucky Coin Syndicate. We out there. So yeah, titties, ass, and food. Oh shit. But yeah, webtoons I think are probably the pretty good place because a lot of people I know read them a lot. Like my little sister reads tons of webtoons, way more than I do. Like Lore Olympus and all that stuff. I haven't kept up with Lore Olympus.
I used to read a lot more.
What's the tennis one again? Ecstasy Hearts? Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, I think so.
I used to read Ecstasy Hearts. I haven't read Lookism in a long time. I haven't read Windbreaker in a long time. I've dropped, got to high school. I finished Noblesse. That was cool.